Hey, this is Brent from Sellerplex, and today we're going to talk about something of critical importance, which is Amazon DSP product suitability. So if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in advertising with Amazon DSP, or talking to an agency that does Amazon DSP, or maybe you're just doing it yourself. And the most important question you can ask yourself before starting that process, before starting any amount of spend, is my product or products correct for Amazon DSP? Does it make sense for us to make this investment in time, energy, money, most importantly, to advertise on Amazon DSP? So what I'm going to take you through in this video is the framework that we've used at Sellerplex for years to determine if products are suitable for advertising. It's really a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. You really got to make sure all the pieces fit into place, have all the pieces before you start putting the puzzle together. Otherwise, you won't be able to get a complete picture of if the product is improving your catalog, improving your brand, improving sales, or not. These are the questions that brands should ask themselves before they start advertising with Amazon DSP. Too often when we do brand audits or speak with brands, they've jumped into DSP and advertised the wrong products, or in some narrow cases, shouldn't be using DSP at all. It's not right for everyone, and we see a lot of brands kind of wander into it blindly on some bad advice or on the encouragement of an agency that just wants to make a commission or something like that. So we want to avoid those situations if possible. Lastly, for this video, we are focusing on what Amazon calls endemic advertisers. So brands that are selling on Amazon, although off Amazon does have some consideration in this, as you'll see. So let's jump right into it. The first one here is financial viability. Understand that DSP can be a huge investment, and the product you pick has to have the potential to justify that investment over the long term and maximize those outcomes for your brand. A lot of times we recommend spending a minimum of 8, 9, 10K a month USD on Amazon DSP. If you work with Amazon directly, they will ask you to pay anywhere from 35 to 50K commit. So that's substantially more. They have different time frames and timelines for that. It's always changing, but the point is they will ask you to spend a lot of money. You need to be able to justify that investment. And this is, of course, on top of the money you're already spending on sponsored ads. The product or products you pick need to be able to absorb this spend and justify it across your catalog on and off Amazon. That gets us to our first point. Investing in Amazon versus other platforms. We understand that brands that are scaled to the size that are actually considering Amazon DSP are oftentimes on other platforms. And by other platforms, I mean Walmart, or maybe Shopify. Those are two of the most common. There's plenty of other marketplaces out there, but understanding where your ad dollars or time and attention are best spent is the first consideration. Maybe you're able to scale ad spend on a different platform and that has a better ROI on that platform than pushing more money into Amazon and Amazon DSP. I know it seems a bit counterintuitive because this is a video where I'm talking about Amazon DSP, but we have to be realistic with our clients, and we have to address this kind of elephant in the room. It's the first thing I put on this list. It is possible to spend on other platforms too, like maybe Meta or maybe Google. This depends on your returns on those platforms, what kind of talent you have on the team or agency side to take care of that stuff. But think of this not in a vacuum. Amazon DSP is part of a composition of different things you can do to get attention, traction, sales for your brand. The next thing is minimum budget. We really would recommend, like I alluded to earlier, anywhere from, let's say, 8 to 10,000 US dollars a month for DSP. That's really where it starts to be more useful. At that level, you have enough money to spread out across either multiple products or, more importantly, multiple stages of the funnel. That's really key. You want to be able to hit the awareness, consideration, and conversion, and then maybe loyalty, depending on the product. And with budget that high, you have the opportunity to do so. If you're spending only $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, that's not really much to do anything past some basic remarketing, retargeting. And that's not as interesting because DSP is really designed for that awareness, consideration parts of the funnel. It can do so much. Our next consideration, and this is a really important one, is consumable or durable. So what do I mean by this? Consumable doesn't mean things that you eat. It just means things that you buy and they're used up and then you have to buy them again. This is a common confusion point. And durable is things that you buy and ideally they should last for years. In some cases, electronics devices, which you can have for 5 years. something like a kitchen appliance, which can be around for 10 years, ideally. And those are higher priced, right? So a lot of decisions that we make when thinking about Amazon DSP are made through the framework of consumable versus durable. A lot of the metrics we track kind of take a fork in the road there too. But the key thing to remember for this, we're talking about financially speaking, is customer lifetime value is what we care about when we're looking at lower priced consumable products. We probably won't make money on the first purchase, but we're trying to get someone in for subscribe and save, and we're trying to make sure that they're a loyal customer for a long time. Whether that's 6 months and they buy once a month, or some products I've worked with, they buy every 2 months and they're a subscribe and save customer for a year and a half. Whatever the metrics are, you know your metrics, you have dashboards in Amazon to see this. And what you're trying to do is drive repeat purchases over the lifetime. If you're talking about durable, there needs to be a price point that is attractive to run DSP. We usually would advise at the very minimum something like a $35 or $40 US price point, something that is less than $10 and is something that someone might buy one time is not at all a right fit for DSP. This is obviously linked very closely with CLTV, which is something that's a little bit hard to get your mind around on Amazon, but if you have third-party tools or enough knowledge to dive into the reports, you can figure out CLTV pretty readily. And this is a consideration that is really key for DSP because when we're looking at the math long-term over the course of not just 1 or 2 months, but 6 months, a year, and then using tools like AMC to back out the results that we've had, this is a key consideration. Since ADSP is really good at driving repeat purchases and engendering loyalty with customers, this is something that figures really heavily into CLTV. Our next consideration is hero retail readiness. What we mean by this is the typical concept of retail readiness, which you're probably familiar with. Is the product ready to be put in front of primetime shoppers, and will it be purchased by them? Will they see it in the first couple seconds and know it's what they want? But we're taking that one step further. Usually the products you advertise with ADSP are hero products. So these are the top echelon, the top winners in your catalog. And there's a couple obvious criteria for those. Like there has to be really good video, really good images, bullet points, back end, keywords all optimized. A big discussion now in 2025 is Rufus. The key things to touch on here are consistent, healthy inventory. That's critical. You can't be advertising stuff with DSP that doesn't have stock. Must have the buy box, non-negotiable. And there has to be a minimum star rating of 4.0 or higher. Personally, I like to see like a 4.3 or a 4.5 visual on the product listing. That's even better. But for some subcategories, some markets, some products, 4.0 is fine. Definitely don't want to be running DSP to anything that's in the 3-point something category. So our last criteria here is what we call making a winner an even bigger winner. There are usually a handful of products in your catalog that are the obvious pick for Amazon DSP. These are the same ones that are the hero retail ready status. They're usually the ones with the biggest sales. They have a lot of inventory. And the real long-term impact of running DSP on these products is multifold. So what are the benefits of advertising a winner versus other products in the catalog? Well, first of all, advertising that winner is going to have a halo effect on the other products in the catalog. If you're advertising something that is a big seller and is well regarded, people will know the brand from that, and then they'll shop around with other products in the catalog. That leads to things like upselling and cross-selling. This is what we'll talk about in some of the next sections, but you really just want to pick one of the top sellers in your catalog for consideration with DSP. And it's usually quite obvious to you what that product is. It's no secret. After going through these 6 criteria in the first block here, you probably already have an idea in your head of which one it is. But let's look at 2 examples. Here are 2 product pages I picked on Amazon. And the first one here is a Keurig single serve K-Pods coffee cup brand from Green Mountain. You can see the sale price of this is about $45-ish, and there's a one-time purchase option, but just out of the screenshot, there's, of course, the subscribe and save. And this is a product that is, of course, consumable. People will buy this, and I'm not sure how many there are, 96 count. Maybe they'll buy it every 2 months. Maybe they put it in an office or something, and they buy it every 2 weeks because people drink it much more rapidly. It depends on the cadence of subscribe and save. And what you're trying to do with DSP is get customers to get to this product, subscribe and save, and then you have them for customer lifetime value, assuming that you're able to retain them. That's the other side of the piece there. And this is obviously a hero product. I mean, the reviews are 4.7 star. It's got 48,000 reviews, which is a tremendous amount. And even the one-time product purchase price of $45-ish is like pretty good. That's a pretty nice price. So this is be something that I would definitely consider a viable opportunity for DSP. Consider also there are many different count packs and many different flavors. So if someone lands on this, maybe they don't like Nantucket Blend, they want Half Calf or Costa Rica Paradiso. Okay, great, go for it. Fantastic. Other options within the brand. Now, as a counterexample, we have this Ilutong men's socks. So we've worked in apparel a lot, and apparel is very tough for DSP, especially for a product like this. Now, granted, this is on a Black Friday deal, as you can see, but even the full price of it, which is like $10-ish, is too low for Amazon DSP. Furthermore, if I'm looking for something like socks with a little like sticky bottom on them, it's very unlikely that I'm willing to come back to this specific brand and have some kind of brand loyalty towards them. This is just a very simple commodity product. This brand name, I probably won't remember. I'll get the product, I'll use it, and then that'll be it. There's no chance or little chance that I'm going to build any kind of long-term customer lifetime value or come back to this same brand again and again and again because I'm so passionate about their products. For something like the coffee, well, that's like a flavor question and taste, and yeah, you do build brand affinity for that. So think deeply about some of these things when you're considering DSP viability. Let's tackle block number 2, product attributes. How well does your product fit with the advanced targeting and full funnel strategy capabilities that Amazon DSP provides? 4 points here. The first one is targeting breadth. Ideally, the product should belong to a category that has a large, definable, obvious audience on Amazon. This allows us to build larger in-market or lifestyle or interest-based segments on Amazon DSP and target a wide swath of people. It also means that we have a large group of people to build audiences against when we filter those down. And it has, let's call it like more mass appeal. Something that's more of a niche product that has a smaller amount of page views and purchases probably is not the best fit for Amazon DSP. So that's number 1, targeting breadth. Think about the audience potential. Now let's look at brand building potential. So ADSP is really effective for upper funnel and mid funnel type awareness consideration orders like we've talked about. And the product should have a strong, unique value proposition that can be communicated with display ads, or better yet, these days especially, video and even audio. If you're reaching new to brand customers, it's the kind of product and the kind of creative that will make an impression on them and build an awareness or affinity or some memory about it. And this is what we mean by brand building. That's like the exercise of brand building. If it's something that's unremarkable or the creative is really boring, it's probably not going to have the same value proposition for a DSP. Next, let's consider product funnel depth and general catalog depth. So if you're selling one hero product and it doesn't really have too many accessories or other related products that the same shopper could theoretically purchase and enjoy the kind of ecosystem of products in your catalog, ADSP might not be the right fit. What we're looking for is a product that's a part of a kind of diverse catalog of things. It has a brand halo. So we can target someone who's purchased the first product and upsell them or cross-sell them or target them for additional purchases on accessories or other flavors or something else from the brand that they'll find useful. Is there a lineup of products in your catalog that you can cross-sell and upsell to? That's really the question. Will somebody buy a variety of things from you going forward? That's what we're asking with this question. And last but certainly not least, seasonality. Seasonality can be a big consideration with Amazon DSP. For example, we worked with a brand for years that sold chocolate turkeys around the time of Thanksgiving into Christmas. And we would never be running advertising for them in the summer because those products would melt. Just because it's a very powerful platform for targeting audiences doesn't mean that you can go against seasonality. In fact, Amazon DSP is not an always-on tool. It might be something that you run for 6 months out of the year, or it might be something that you run during special promo periods a couple times during the year, or it might be something you run only in the back to school period, or maybe the new year, new you time period, or maybe just Q4. It doesn't always have to be running like sponsored ads. Let's take a look at another example to illustrate this a bit better. So this Cuisinart air fryer, this would be a pretty good selection for Amazon DSP because a couple of things. First of all, this is a brand that a lot of people already know, or at least have some familiarity with. Doing additional brand building with Amazon DSP and reaching them they may already have some recognition and you're kind of playing off that. Furthermore, the price is good. Even on Black Friday deal here with a heavy discount, it's $100 US, has a 4.7 star rating with 2,000 plus reviews. And you can see there's multiple versions of this, right? So I'm looking at the 6-quart, but there's also a 9, a 4.5, and a 2.6. So we have a lot of options. If you go to Cuisinart's store on Amazon, they have a lot of other products. They have things that are cheaper in the catalog. They have things that are more expensive. They have accessories. They even have an ice cream machine. They have everything. So is it possible that someone would buy this, be very pleased with how it works, and say, man, I will buy more stuff from Cuisinart? Yeah, of course. That's totally possible. We can also target people that have purchased this with cross-selling and upselling to encourage that behavior. So this would be a good product to consider for Amazon DSP. Our third point is creative and data readiness. What this means is our product and the catalog surrounding it must have high quality creative available and all the tracking infrastructure in place to understand the full impact of the DSP that we're running. So let's touch on this high quality ad creative. This is even more critical than it is on Amazon with sponsored ads. ADSP ads are running off Amazon in many circumstances. They're seen in a different kind of context and environment than those on Amazon. And that can include things like connected TV and Prime Video, audio ads, videos on other websites that are not Amazon at all. And so these ad formats are visually demanding, and you need to be able to communicate the value proposition, the unique parts of the brand, the unique parts of the product very quickly. And for that matter, Amazon has fairly strict guidelines for what will or will not pass muster with Amazon DSP. There are plenty of times when you'll submit creative and it will be disapproved based on some pretty specific rules and shifting conditions per category. The product really needs to benefit from high quality, high resolution images, lifestyle, video content, product in use, everything like that, in order to properly engage people who are in that upper middle funnel. If you don't have an existing library of high quality creative for the product you're considering advertising, then either go get it made or use AI to make a lot of it. That is not always as good, of course, as real creative made with like photographers and videographers, but it will sometimes serve as a stopgap until you can get those things in place. A good example for those coffee pods we just looked at could be something as simple as showing a customer using them in the morning as part of their morning routine, sitting down at the table, enjoying the product. And that would be a nice high quality piece of creative to put out there that's kind of aspirational and people could watch and imagine themselves in that situation, become interested in the product. So this is not necessarily a product suitability factor. This is more of a technical side that surrounds a product consideration. If the brand has an off Amazon website, they should be using something like an Amazon advertising tag that allows us to remarket to people that have visited the website or exclude people that have purchased through the website. It allows us to build audiences based on people that have hit the website. Speaking purely from the agency side here, that kind of buy-in from a client is really, really helpful and very critical for having a DSP function to its fullest capacity. The first example here is what Amazon calls a hashed audience. So this is a list of your current subscribers or purchasers or past purchasers. And the minimum size here is 10,000 entries. We can get this from you, clean it, process the data, and actually do what's called a hash, which is a form of encryption that is uploaded to Amazon. They process that. It sometimes takes a few days. And then we can build inclusion or exclusion audiences based on that. This availability of first-party data is what makes Amazon DSP so much better than sponsored ads. We also have these data sources, and these are what's called like data managers, but you can connect the Amazon DSP to different kind of customer data platforms, and then you can pull in information from that. This is like the API kind of more high-tech automated way to do things versus the hashed audience, which is kind of the manual upload style. This allows you to make the same set of exclusions, inclusions, audience settings that you would with the hashed audience. And our third option here is what's called the Amazon ad tag. This is just a piece of JavaScript you put on your first-party website. Maybe it's a Shopify site or it's hosted on WooCommerce or something. And this allows you to do, yet again, the same thing. Exclusion audiences, inclusion audiences, lookalikes, based on the behaviors that people are exhibiting on your first-party website. So these first-party data sources are critical for a serious Amazon DSP setup. And on the subject of data readiness, we have to talk about AMC. So AMC, or Amazon Marketing Cloud, is that highly valuable connective tissue on the reporting and audience creation side that comes from Amazon directly. So anytime someone interacts with your advertising, whether that be sponsored ads, or Amazon DSP. Those interactions, those events are put in a database that you can query with SQL, and that is called AMC. But having someone in-house or on the agency side that has a very strong grasp on AMC is table stakes for making Amazon DSP work to its fullest potential in 2025 into 2026. There's no way you can get away with not using AMC anymore, especially for the reporting side to understand the full impact over a longer period of time of what DSP is doing for your brand, for your catalog, for your products. And this is what AMC actually looks like. Everyone has access to this now. Look in your measurement and reporting area. And this is just showing a series of queries we've run recently. Most of these are for reporting, but some of them are for audience creation. Some of them are custom queries. Some of them are templates. Some of them are a mix. There's a lot to learn about AMC, and it's always evolving. Make sure to ask the AI, because the built-in AI is pretty good these days. But this is an essential part of running DSP in 2026 and on. And the final thing we'll touch on today is what I call KPI harmony. So key performance indicators. Can I, as the person running DSP, and you as the client, or you as the client and the agency you're working with, can you agree on the 1 to 3 KPIs that are the most important for the account? Sometimes this also happens at an order level. So there may be some orders in the DSP account that are there just to drive detailed page views at an affordable cost, or you're trying to get a high detailed page view rate. So you're trying to get a lot of people to the page. Sometimes you're just trying to get video completions. How many people can we get to watch 75%, 100% of the video? Sometimes you're trying to get ROAS. There are some campaigns that are designed just to get sales from retargeting or remarketing. That's fine. There's a bunch of different objectives here with Amazon DSP. But what you need to do is agree with whoever is running it on those top 1 to 3 KPIs and stick to them for the life of the campaign. Otherwise, it's going to be unclear what the objectives are and if things are going well or not going well. But that needs to be agreed on before you start. Thanks for learning with me today. And if you want to talk more DSP, you can find a link in the description below to my personal calendar to talk. If you're interested in running DSP with us over at Sellerplex, that's the link to hit. And if you liked what you learned today, check out more of the videos on my channel, and thanks for watching.